So today we're going to be talking about how you're doing better floors than the $5 per square foot guy, but still losing jobs to them. We all know that you know how to lay a floor, right? Your installs look super clean. The customers love you, but your margins, they're just super tight, way too tight. Why? It's because you're still playing the pricing game like the guy who just started. You're quoting like a technician, you're negotiating like a rookie, and you're anchoring your value right next to the low ballers who cut corners and call it a day. So this training is all about fixing that, not getting more leads, not by working longer hours, but by pricing with precision, posture, and authority. So why is competing on price a dead-end strategy? A fast yes is not a win. It's actually a warning sign. If they say yes instantly to your quote, you actually didn't win the sale, you lost your margin. And a fast yes means one thing. It means that you priced like a rookie and that you priced way too low. You're not anchoring, you didn't frame, and you didn't position yourself as the best. You position yourself as the cheapest option. And that's not how high value clients buy either. Smart homeowners want to know what makes you different. They want to be walked through the why. They want to feel like they're paying for precision, not hoping for the best. And if they didn't ask, it's because you didn't give them anything worth asking about. Please, for the love of God, please do not chase those fast yeses. And something else that you need to recognize here is that pricing low does not build demand. It actually erodes your authority. Are you one of those owners who thinks that the way to win more jobs is to come in competitively priced? That mindset is exactly why you're stuck at quoting $5 per square foot. It's the gospel. Here's what really happens when you price yourself that low. You're going to start attracting bargain hunters who treat your work like a commodity, where it's easy to swap you out with a different company, easy to bring up questions and question your process. And in the end, I'm sure you guys have seen this, they're just impossible to please, right? And you also end up losing the respect of serious clients who actually have money. And then also the thing that you guys have to recognize is that people talk. Your market is going to talk. People are going to talk to their other friends that also own homes, right? And so you start to train everyone that's in your market, all of these customers, to start expecting more work for less pay at that $5 per square foot. And that's slowly how we tank the whole industry down to $5 per square foot. Not only does the whole industry become the budget guy, right? But you become the budget guy, not the trusted expert here. And that's the positioning that we need to move towards. You're going to stay busy, but you're probably never going to actually be truly profitable. Think about this. The guy who gets paid the most in your market, right? If you guys want to think about it, he's probably not quoting lower than you, and he's just quoting better. And you can too, once you stop letting fear set your numbers for you. So the real problem is that you haven't built the frame to support a higher price when dealing with the leads that you're dealing with. So when you try to charge more, it's going to feel out of place, even to you. So we need to change that, right? Let's turn your price into actual proof of expertise, not an apology, that not just something that rolls off as, I'm sorry, I'm even charging you, right? And just so we're clear, this is not about selling you a premium system to the customer every single time. That's part of it, sure. But the bigger shift here, it's charging more for the exact same floor that you're already laying. It's just charging more for it, right? The fix is not a fancier flake blend or a thicker top coat. It's actually learning how to quote and talk to your customers with confidence, position like a pro, and walk in. The price is the standard, not the stretch from whatever other quotes that they might have, right? So you really do need to start high, or you're going to get dragged down by your other leads. You're not going to be able to maintain control, and you're going to get ragdolled by these customers trying to set the price for you, which is never really that fun, right? So you want to make sure that you're controlling the frame, or you're going to lose the sale before you even start speaking, right? And price, it does not exist in isolation. Every single number that your customer hears, it's getting compared to something else, whether you realize it or not. Even if they've never gotten another quote from another epoxy company, when they hear your number, they're going to compare it to the carpet install that they've done before, or the tile installation, or the hardwood that they had done before, right? And if you're not the one that's setting that benchmark for them, you're already negotiating against somebody else's frame, especially if it is another epoxy flooring contractor that does quote at $5 per square foot, right? That $5 per square foot guy who cuts corners and rushes installs, he's really not your competition. But if he gets to set the price expectation with the leads first, then you just got boxed in. And so here's how you want to take back that control. Even if the lead does have a $5 per square foot quote in hand, you need to just start high. with your quote, always. There's no exceptions, right? You want to lead with your premium, your highest and most reasonable price. And when you start high like that, when you start with a really high dollar per square foot price, you end up actually making it clear to the lead that there's a difference between a cheap floor and the floor that they're actually looking for, right? And you can always just say something like, hey, this is our top tier install, full diamond grind, moisture barrier, full flake broadcast, and a thicker top coat. And it's built to outlast every single shortcut that's out there on the market, right? That's why these guys are quoting low. They're incorporating in shortcuts so that way they can charge lower. And so now you've set the frame, right? So then when you come in with your $7 per square foot, $9 per square foot, your $12 per square foot starting price, it feels like it's a calculated decision, not a financial stretch from a $5 quote, right? And so this is something that I really love to suggest you guys doing, the guys that I work with. It's just anchoring higher. Like I said, just start really high. You don't need the clients to buy the top package. They don't need to buy the metallic floor if they're looking for a flake floor, right? You just need them to see the options that are out there. So that way the middle tier that you're actually offering them becomes the obvious choice. That's the move that you want to do here, right? You lead with your premium system, your premium pricing, not because it always sells, but because it sets the frame. So now your standard package, it actually feels like a huge deal to them, not a stretch of their dollar. You can stop quoting scared. You can stop opening with your lowest price. That's what you need to do. You need to stop opening with your lowest price, and you need to start quoting like someone who actually believes in their work. And here's how you should be doing it. Whenever you quote the premium floor, let's say you're doing flakes, but you start at $9 per square foot, right? You walk them through every single layer, full grind, the moisture barrier, full flake, the thicker top coat, poly finish, and that it's built to last, right? Like we talked about earlier. And then you say, now, if you're looking to simplify it a little bit, we can bring that to $7. It's still high quality, still done right, but it's just simplified. And this is what it'll look like, right? And suddenly they actually feel like they negotiated a win. I'm getting a $9 floor at $7 per square foot. You actually end up keeping your margin as well. $7 is still a premium for you, and you stay in control. Instead of charging $5 per square foot, you're charging $9 or $7 per square foot, but you started at the $9 per square foot, right? And they might even go with the $9 per square foot. They might land on $7 per square foot, and you might even have to walk them all the way back to $5. The market might be that hit, but the thing is that none of you guys are actually doing this process. And then in the end, you still make the sale. If you walk them through this process and you do prove your value, you shouldn't have to walk all the way to $5. You make the sale and you keep your margins, and the customer also feels like they won because you're the one that set the stage for that win to happen in their mind. They don't really realize that $5 per square foot is your low. You made them feel like they're getting a steal at $7 because you started at $9. And that's not price dropping, right? It's just price positioning done right. And a lot of the part behind this is that you have to have the confidence to be able to do this, right? And confidence is what sells, not the coding, not the color chart that you bring, not the cute little flyer brochure that you hand them, right? You sell the floor and you set the price. And if your quote doesn't feel like you're worth top dollar, neither will your price, neither will your floors, right? So hopefully you get it by now. At this level, you're not just selling floors, you're actually selling certainty to the customer, you're selling trust, and you're selling the peace of mind that says that to the customer that I know that it's going to be done right and I don't have to think twice about this. And that certainty, that peace of mind, that trust, that does not come cheap. So the thing is that if you think like an installer, you're going to get paid like an installer. And like we already talked about, we know that you lay killer floors, but you're still quoting like a guy that has something to prove still. If your pricing process feels like a quick text with a number just slapped on it, don't be shocked when you get treated like the budget option. You're thinking like an installer, and that mindset, it's actually capping your income every single month. Premium pricing isn't just about what you charge, it's about how you actually present it to the customers. Because quoting, it's not just a transaction, it's actually more like a performance, more like a dance, right? The homeowner isn't just buying the product, they're buying you, your confidence, your clarity, and your control of the process. If you want to get paid like a pro, stop showing up like a guy who just wants to get the job. Something else that you should consider is that if your process feels sloppy, your price is going to feel risky as well. You can't pitch a $4,000 garage with a $400 process. Just let that sink in for a second. If your quoting takes 3 days, right? If your estimate's missing half of the details, and if your follow-up sounds like you're half asleep, that's not just disorganized, it's super expensive to your business. Because when things feel sloppy on the front end, The customer is just going to assume that you're going to be sloppy when it actually matters, which is on their floor. And the high paying clients, they don't just want quality work, they want certainty. They want to know that the guy that they hired has it dialed in from the first message to the final walkthrough, from the first lead, first time they come in contact with you, the first ad, all the way to the first time that they talk to you, all the way to the time that you're walking through that final time with them. They want to know that you've got it all dialed in and that you're ready to go. And this is also how you get reviews too. I know this is kind of random, but when you have that whole process dialed in, it shows the professionalism, and it shows that you have it dialed in, and then they're willing to take that extra step for you. So if your process doesn't scream dialed in, then your price itself starts to feel like a gamble to the customers. So if you want to charge more, then you got to start acting like someone who already does charge more. That means quoting like a professional, following up like a closer that actually cares, and walking into every single job like the expert that you are. Another thing that you need to consider is to stop selling features and to start selling the actual outcome to the customer. Homeowners don't care about polyaspartic or how thick your top coat is, okay? They do not know the difference, and they don't want a chemistry lesson either. They want results. They care about never having to redo it. They care about the floor not peeling in 6 months, and they care about pulling into their garage and thinking, damn, this looks clean. And every feature that you list needs to be tied directly to something that they feel, okay? So if you mention a moisture barrier, that's peace of mind that their slab won't bubble up in a year, right? It's going to protect their concrete. If you talk about the full broadcast flake, that's grip, durability, no patchy spots on their floor. If you use poly, that's a floor that won't yellow as fast as it maybe might otherwise, right? That everything is going to yellow, but it also is going to look brand new 5 years from now. So stop geeking out about your process to the customers. They don't care. They're not buying the product. They're not buying the process. They're buying what it protects. They're buying what it prevents. And more than anything, they're buying how it's going to make them feel. So then you need to paint the picture, not pitch the actual product. If you want to sell high ticket work, you've got to get out of the quote and hope game. You've got to sit down, paint that picture for them, make them see it, make them feel it. This will be the first thing that your neighbors notice when the garage door is up, right? Or your truck's going to look better parked on this than it did on a showroom floor. Or it's the one upgrade that you're actually going to use every single day in this house. At the end of the day, you're not just coating concrete for these homeowners. You're actually finishing the most overlooked spaces in their houses and giving it status. That's what justifies a 4K plus ticket for the garage at the very least, right? Not the thickness, not the mix ratio, not the brand of flakes. It's the feeling, the pride, the transformation that they're going to experience by working with you, that you're going to be able to provide. And the thing is that any other person that's quoting them that doesn't know this, that can't sell this, is not going to help them see that transformation. So off rip, you're going to close more and more and more jobs, right? And if you're nodding your head right now, that's good. That means that this is landing, but this is where most guys blow it. They get all of this, and then once they get in front of the customer, they flinch the second that it's time to put a number on it. So let's talk about how to hold your ground when the price pushback shows up. So what you need to do is hold the line, offer options to the customer, but never apologize for your price to them, okay? Because discounting, it does not close deals, and it just kills your authority. It makes you look like you've got to cut corners too, just to be able to get the job closed, right? You're not a coupon. You are actually, in fact, a great installer. If you're working with me, I know that you're a great installer. And so hopefully one of the best, right? But not just that, you're a solution to a problem that they're not able to fix themselves, right? The second that you start backpedaling on price, you just signal one thing to them, that you don't believe that you're the solution for their problem either. So what do you do when they push back? You just hold the line and then give them options, but not excuses and not discounts, right? Say something like, totally understand if that's more than you expected, but if we scale back the scope, we can bring that down to whatever amount. It's still going to be a solid floor, still going to be done right. Just a simplified process for your floor, right? Or a little less product so it's going to be a little less durable, might have to be done sooner. That's called posture. You're not actually begging for the sale. You're not giving them a discount just to get the sale, but you're giving them a choice without compromising on your standards. At this point, you're still the pro, you're still in control, and you can still win the job and do it on your terms, right? So we had spoke about this for a brief second earlier, but if you're getting too many yeses or too many easy yeses, then the thing is that you're probably not charging enough. Here's a red flag that most guys miss when I'm talking to them. If people keep saying yes without any hesitation, that's not a good sign that your sales game is strong. It's actually a sign that your price is too low, right? So you should occasionally actually get pushback from people. You should have to walk people through your value. You should have to actually earn the sale. That's the space where serious money is actually being made, and you need to be tracking it. If you're closing 100% of the quotes with zero friction, you're actually leaving money on the table every single time through your margins. You should let the market set your floor price and you set your ceiling, right? And just go into these sales going forward, just raise the number, raise your presence, raise the damn standard. That's it. At this point, you've got a decision to make, right? You can keep on quoting safe. You can keep hoping for yeses from anyone who will pay whatever low dollar amount that you said, or you can raise the bar and start attracting clients who actually respect your work and they're going to pay what it's worth. And then once you start making all of that money, you can start scaling at a way different rate, right? You guys are essentially cutting yourself off by the throat. So the thing is that by now you've grown. You're not the guy that you were when you first started, right? Back then, you just take any job that hit your inbox. You drop your price just to get the job. You were chasing the leads, right? But now your installs are super clean. Your systems are super tight and your floors speak for themselves, but your pricing, it's still stuck in that survival mode, right? Your craftsmanship has grew, your reputation grew, but your posture didn't. And that's the real problem here. This isn't about charging more just because. It's about owning the fact that your work actually deserves to be priced higher, right? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't get paid what you're worth. You get paid what you position yourself to receive, right? And if you're still quoting a $5 per square foot guy, again, don't be surprised when clients treat you like one. So here's the shift that you need to make. You anchor high. Don't let low ballers in your market set the baseline. You lead with confidence as well. You show up like the expert, not the option. And you need to stop justifying your price. Just make it make sense. No justifying. And then stop apologizing for what it costs to do it right. You're the one that knows what needs to be done to do it right. That's what it costs. You stick to that and stick to your guns and have that confidence. And then also start with the price. And once you give them a $5 quote, you can't go to $9, right? But once you go to $9, you can go to $7, you can go to $6, you can go to $5.50, right? So the guys that are closing big ticket floors right now, they're not better than you. They're not faster than you. They just know how to actually price their quotes and then own their worth, right? And if this hits home, don't just sit on it. You've got the skill. Now you need the strategy. I do run a group for epoxy contractors. And so if you're ready to stop chasing cheap jobs and start closing like pros, we talk sales, positioning, follow-up systems, stuff that actually moves the needle for your business, right? No more fluff, no more leads, BS. So if you're serious about raising your prices without losing jobs in the process, go ahead and join my group and let's get ready. Let's get right to work, guys.